What if I told you that right now, while you're watching this video, there's a 4 to 6 week window closing that could cost you thousands of dollars in grocery bills and rob you of the most gourmet vegetables you'll ever taste? Most gardeners think spring planting is flexible. Plant whenever the mood strikes, baby everything with row covers, and somehow catch up later. Dead wrong. University extension services from Texas A&M to Cornell Hammer home one brutal truth. Miss the spring window for these 15 vegetables, and you're nursing weaklings through summer scorch, while your neighbors harvest restaurant-quality crops that make store-bought look like rabbit food. We're talking about asparagus that pays you back annually per 100 feet, artichokes that were prized by ancient civilizations, and a forgotten root vegetable that saved Civil War soldiers from starvation and now sells for more per pound than most steaks. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 15 vegetables demand spring planting, the rebel-growing secrets that double your yields, and why working with nature instead of against it turns your backyard into a cash crop. Let's get into it. Number 1. Asparagus. One mature asparagus bed is like having a money tree that pays you back for decades. Asparagus crowns have bankrolled American fortunes since the 1800s, when Jersey farmers shipped them to Europe for gold rush prices. Picture this. Your garden edge transforms from barren dirt to a feathery forest of 6-foot fronds, swaying like a wild meadow, while underground, gnarled roots thicken like buried treasure. One mature bed yields substantial value annually per 100 feet, according to Penn State Extension data. Forget buying limp spears at $5 a pound when you can harvest forever from one spring planting. But here's the thing that'll make you panic if you haven't planted yet. Miss this narrow spring window, and you're looking at 3 years of waiting instead of 1. Asparagus crowns planted in summer heat never develop the deep root system they need. They struggle, they weaken, and half of them die before they ever produce a single spear. The secret isn't following the packet's bland, deep trench nonsense. Source 2-year-old Jersey Night crowns and mycorrhizae load your trench. Mix in commercial inoculant plus 20% composted mushroom manure. This rockets root mass faster per USDA research. Plant crowns 6 to 8 inches deep, but here's the rebel hack. Top dress immediately with wood ash from your fire pit for a potassium bomb without burning. Then backfill gradually as spears emerge. This forces more spears per crown year 1, beating the standard 3-year wait. Store asparagus snaps like twigs and tastes grassy, but homegrown snaps crisp with buttery, nutty depth from peak freshness. Romans valued asparagus highly. Today, its asparagine flushes uric acid per NIH studies, making your crop a health powerhouse. Number 2. Artichokes. Artichokes aren't just vegetables. They're living sculptures that explode your plot into Mediterranean drama while banking substantial retail value per plant. Your corner erupts into architectural theater. Massive silvery gray leaves arch 4 to 6 feet like metallic palm fronds, studded with spiky globes that unfurl from purple-throated hearts. California's Central Valley banks $150 million yearly from them, and one plant delivers what costs you $20 at the store. But if you think you can wait until summer to plant these beauties, think again. Artichokes are Mediterranean natives that need a long, cool, growing season to develop those prized globes. Plant them after soil heats up past 70 degrees, and they'll bolt straight to flower without forming the tender hearts you're after. The window is closing fast. Toss the seed start myth for imperial star transplants in full sun, well-drained loam. The killer hack from Italian master gardeners? Pre-sprout roots by soaking crowns overnight in fish hydrolysate and molasses emulsion. Space 4 feet apart, but rebel it up with a north-side burlap windbreak for the first month, channeling microclimate warmth that bumps bud count per Montana state trials. Plant in craters filled with 30% volcanic rock dust for silica armor against slugs and borers. Globe artichokes are perennials disguised as annuals in cold zones. Mulch crowns 12 inches deep post-harvest with straw for 80% survival north of Zone 7. Greeks crowned winners with them for vitality. Modern science backs prebiotic inulin for gut health. Number 3. Rhubarb. Rhubarb was pie plant gold in 1700s America, valued at $10 per pound fresh today, with 1 crown producing 10 pounds yearly for decades. Backyard alchemy unfolds as colossal puckered leaves fanned 3 to 5 feet wide, like elephant ears on ruddy stalks that thrust ruby crimson spears skyward. Their tart citrus tang wafts on bruised air, shading soil into a cool jungle understory buzzing with earthworms. Here's what most people don't realize about rhubarb timing. These plants need a cold winter to break dormancy and produce those thick, juicy stalks. But they also need to get established before summer heat hits. Plant rhubarb crowns too late in spring, and they'll spend the entire first year struggling instead of building the massive root system that makes them productive for the next 20 years. Select Victoria or Canada. Red varieties, split crowns in spring for instant doubles. The Edge from UKRHS Wisdom. Plant in a 2-foot mound of 50-50 compost leaf mold. Collar with layered wet cardboard soaked in comfrey tea for dynamite nitrogen, suppressing weeds while worms aerate. Add 1 cup bone meal per hole for phosphorus surge, yielding stalks 2 inches thick year 1 per University of Minnesota extension tests. Chinese used roots medicinally 2700 BC. Now anthraquinones aid digestion per NIH studies. WSU Extension notes no harvest year 1, but you can force pots indoors winter 2 for Christmas stalks. Rhubarb caravans from Russia once fetched spice-level prices. Number 4. Swiss chard. Swiss chard saved sailors from scurvy with vitamin C loads that outpace oranges, and modern markets pay $4 per bunch for what 1 packet delivers in substantial harvests. Rainbow stalks erupt like candy canes. Bright lights, crimson, gold, and pink pillars thrust ruffled green leaves skyward, creating a vibrant textural wall that filters sun into dappled shade. The earthy mineral scent rises, with each harvest, transforming mundane beds into living art. The beauty of chard is its heat tolerance, but that doesn't mean you can plant it whenever you want. Start chard too late, and you miss the sweet spot where cool spring weather lets the plants establish strong root systems before summer stress hits. Late-planted chard bolts fast and produces bitter, tough leaves. Skip transplants for direct seed rainbow mix, but the pro trick from Kansas State. Mix crushed oyster shells 1 cup per 10 feet row into furrows for pH buffer and calcium armor against leaf miners. Succession stagger seeds every 10 days in 2-inch bands, water with diluted whey to kickstart microbes. This improves cut and come yields to 8 harvests per plant per Rodale trials. The multi-cut approach beats bolt-prone spinach every time. Clemson Extension notes heat tolerance via perpetual spinach variety extends harvests through summer when spinach fails. Store chard wilts bitter, but yours sauté stems separate for al dente crunch while leaves silk into risotto. Nutrient-dense with iron stores that beat spinach without oxalates. Number 5. Collard greens. Collards fueled civil rights marches as low-country gula grew them for soul food resilience. and today one plant yields substantial season value. Towering blue-green petals form a cabbage palm thicket, waxy leaves, rustling with tough, cabbagey aroma that intensifies with frost-kissed sweetness. They frame paths like living sculpture, transforming ordinary beds into southern heritage gardens. Here's the collard's secret that separates the pros from the amateurs. These plants are virtually indestructible once established, but they need cool soil to germinate properly. Wait too long into spring, and your seeds will sit in hot soil, rotting instead of sprouting. The African diaspora brought collards as survival food because they knew exactly when to plant for maximum survival. Direct sow Georgia Southern or Champion varieties, but Alabama extension hack? Chop banana peels into planting holes for slow potassium release. Side dress with blood meal monthly. Use low tunnel microclimate with PVC hoops and plastic to extend season 4 weeks. This prevents flea beetles via row cover while improving harvests. The frost sweetening effect makes late plantings candy sweet. UFIFAS praises Vate's hybrid for cold hardiness. Store collards turn tough, but yours slow cook vinegary with bacon into melt in mouth luxury while retaining superfood vitamin status. Number 6. Turnips. Turnips saved entire civilizations from famine, yet today they're the misunderstood rebels that deliver both gourmet greens and sweet roots in one package. These dual-purpose powerhouses pump out tender greens in 30 days while swelling purple-topped globes underground. The leaves rival spinach for nutrition, while roots develop a honey-sweet crunch that transforms from survival food to gourmet ingredient. Medieval Europeans thought tomatoes were poison, but survived on turnips through brutal winters. The timing secret? Turnips are one of the few vegetables that actually prefer cool, even cold soil for germination. Plant them in warm spring soil, and they'll be tough and woody. Plant them early when soil is still cold, and they develop that sweet, crisp texture that made them survival food for thousands of years. Direct sow purple top white globe, or Hakurei varieties 4 to 6 weeks before last frost when soil hits 40 degrees. They laugh at cold that kills tender crops. Succession plant every 2 weeks for continuous harvest, thin to 4 inches apart for bulb development. The secret? Harvest greens at 4 inches tall. Then let roots size up for dual crops from one planting. Never let them get oversized or they turn woody. Modern Japanese Hakurei varieties can be eaten raw like apples. Crisp, sweet, and mild enough for kids who hate vegetables. One packet feeds a family all season. Number 7. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are the ultimate patience test. 100 days from seed to harvest, but they're also the cold weather champions that get sweeter with every frost. These architectural marvels grow into 3-foot towers studded with dozens of mini cabbages spiraling up thick stalks. They're living sculptures that thrive when everything else surrenders to cold, turning your fall garden into a productive wonderland. Here's the Brussels sprouts reality check that most gardeners learn too late. These plants need the full season to develop properly. Start them too late, and they'll never form tight sprouts before winter kills them. But start them at the right time in spring, and they'll reward your patience with the sweetest vegetables in your garden. Start seeds indoors 12 to 14 weeks before first fall frost. Transplant in midsummer for fall harvest. They need the long, cool season to develop properly. Space 18 to 24 inches apart in rows. Stake tall varieties to prevent toppling. Remove lower leaves as sprouts form to focus energy upward. The game changer? Harvest after several hard frosts when starches convert to sugars for candy sweet flavor. Brussels sprouts were developed in Belgium in the 1200s, but didn't reach America until the 1800s. The bitter reputation comes from old varieties and poor cooking. Fresh harvested sprouts roasted with bacon fat are vegetable candy. Modern hybrids like Diablo resist clubroot and size uniformly. Number 8. Kohlrabi. Kohlrabi looks like a vegetable from Mars, but tastes like the sweetest, crunchiest apple broccoli hybrid you've ever experienced. These space-age orbs swell above ground like alien pods, their bulbous stems crowned with blue-green leaves that fountain upward. They're conversation starters that mature in just 55 days, delivering crisp sweetness when summer heat kills everything else. The kohlrabi advantage is speed, but that speed only works if you plant at the right time. These weird-looking vegetables need cool weather to develop their signature sweet crunch. Plant them in hot weather, and they'll be tough and bitter. Plant them in cool, spring soil, and they'll be the sweetest thing in your garden. Direct sow or transplant 2 to 4 weeks before last frost. Succession plant every 2 weeks through summer for continuous harvest. Harvest when bulbs reach tennis ball size. Larger ones get woody and tough. The sweet spot is 2 to 3 inches diameter for perfect crunch. Thin to 6 inches apart, keep consistently moist to prevent cracking and splitting. Kohlrabi means cabbage turnip in German, but it's actually a swollen stem, not a root. The leaves are edible too. Cook them like collards. Purple varieties like colibri resist heat better and add stunning color contrast to green gardens. Number 9. Salsify. Salsify earned the nickname oyster plant because its roots taste remarkably like fresh shellfish, yet most gardeners have never heard of this Victorian delicacy. These grass-like plants hide their treasure underground, long, tapered roots that develop complex flavors impossible to find in stores. The purple flowers that follow are edible bonuses, while the roots store perfectly in soil through winter. Salsify was a staple in American gardens until the 1940s, when convenience foods took over. Thomas Jefferson grew them at Monticello, and they're making a comeback at high-end restaurants. But here's the salsify secret. These roots need the entire growing season to develop their complex oyster flavor. Plant them too late, and you'll get thin, flavorless roots that taste like nothing. Direct sow in early spring as soon as soil can be worked. They need the full season to develop. Prepare beds 12 inches deep to accommodate long taproots. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep, thin to 4 inches apart. Never transplant. Disturbed roots fork and become unusable. Keep beds weed-free early when seedlings are thread-thin and vulnerable to competition. The roots can overwinter in soil and be harvested fresh all winter in zones 5 through 8. They're virtually unknown in America, but command premium prices in European markets. Number 10. Scorzonera. Scorzonera, the black oyster plant, produces coal-black roots with snow-white flesh that European chefs guard like culinary secrets. These perennial roots develop incredible complexity over 2 years, their black skins hiding sweet, nutty flesh that's prized in European fine dining. The yellow daisy flowers are stunning, and the roots improve with age like fine wine. Scorzonera was believed to cure snake bites in medieval times. The name means black viper in Italian. The roots can live for decades if not harvested, getting larger and more flavorful each year. They're virtually unknown in America, but command premium prices in European markets. Direct sow in spring for harvest the following year, or grow as annual in long-season areas. Requires deep, stone-free soil for straight root development. Sow 1/2 inch deep, thin to 6 inches apart. Mulch heavily to keep roots cool and prevent forking. Harvest carefully to avoid breaking the brittle roots. They're worth their weight in gold at farmers' markets. The timing with scorzonera is critical. These roots need a long, cool season to develop their complex flavor. Start them too late, and they'll never reach their potential before hot weather stunts their growth. Number 11. Celeriac. Celeriac isn't just some forgotten root lurking in the celery family. It's the underground king that fueled ancient Roman feasts and saved countless European winters from blandness. These space-age bulbs push up fist-sized knobs that bulge the soil like hidden treasures, while feathery tops sway, releasing anise earth aroma that hits you like fresh baked bread mixed with ocean mist. One plant yields a baseball-sized bulb, worth more in flavor density than a whole celery bunch. During World War II, French farmers smuggled celeriac bulbs across borders because one plant yields more nutrition per square foot than carrots. The bulbs store 6 months without refrigeration and can be harvested fresh from soil all winter in zones 5 through 8. Start seeds indoors 10 to 12 weeks before last frost. They're slow starters that need the full season. Transplant after soil warms to 55 degrees. Blanch crowns starting at 90 days by hilling loose, sandy loam mixed with 20% composted oyster shells. This forces bulbs to swell larger without cracking. Keep consistently moist but not waterlogged to prevent hollow heart. The secret with celeriac is patience and timing. These plants need almost the entire growing season to develop those prized bulbs. Start them too late, and you'll get tiny, disappointing roots instead of the baseball-sized treasures they're capable of producing. Number 12. Florence fennel. Florence fennel, the bulbous, Italian diva, traces its roots to ancient apothecaries who brewed it into elixirs for digestion and desire. These bronze sculptures command garden scenes with feathery fronds, arching skyward in dill like clouds, shimmering licorice-scented breezes that perfume the air for yards. Swollen bulbs mound white and crisp at soil level, their celery crisp texture peeking through mulch like pearl invitations. Pliny the Elder called it the herb of Marathon, for warriors popping seeds to run faster. Today, it fetches $5 per pound at farmers' markets, while costing pennies to grow. The volatile oils that create its anise flavor dissipate quickly after harvest. Homegrown is incomparably more potent. Direct sow 2 to 4 weeks before last frost in cool 50 to 70 degree soils. Position in slight depression that collects morning dew while shielding from hot afternoons. Plant in double rows 8 inches apart. Mulch heavily with straw amended with 10% crushed eggshells to prevent bulb hollowing. Pinch central buds at 6 weeks to force side bulb formation, improving yield using Italian heirloom methods. The fennel timing trick is all about cool weather. These Mediterranean natives need cool springs to develop those prized bulbs. Wait too long, and hot weather will cause them to bolt straight to flower without forming the crisp, sweet bulbs you're after. Number 13. Chicory. Chicory's legend screams rebellion. Louis XIV mandated it in Versailles gardens for liver tonics, while Civil War soldiers chewed roots as coffee proxies when beans ran dry. Your garden erupts in defiant blue flower fireworks amid dandelion-like rosettes, tall stalks spiking 4 feet with vivid azure blooms that close at noon like shy secrets. The air sharpens with bitter earth tang, while roots delve deep, anchoring soil with wild, untamed vigor. Penn State Extension reports 1 packet yields plants producing substantial roots per 100 square feet, roasted into caffeine-free brew, outselling store blends at craft prices. New Orleans Chicory Coffee Blend is still worth millions annually, birthed from Civil War necessity. Direct sow 4 weeks before frost, but rebel by scarifying seeds with sandpaper for improved germination. Mix crushed oyster shells 1 cup per 10 feet row into furrows for pH buffer and calcium armor against leaf miners. Broadcast and rake lightly. Follow with rye cover crop chop mulch at 4 weeks to suppress weeds. Hill soil over crowns in fall for winter sweetness via in-ground blanching, a French market trick extending harvest 60 days. The chicory secret is that cold weather actually improves the flavor, but you need to get them established early enough to develop strong roots before winter hits. Number 14. Endive. Endive's storied past includes ancient civilizations prizing it and Belgian forcing caves producing witloof that powered wartime rations, now a $100 million EU export. These elegant frilled towers unfurl like green chandeliers, their serrated edges catching dew diamonds while forced blanched heads emerge as ivory spears from dark mulch. The patch gains refined wildness, leaves shivering in breeze with subtle crunch that elevates mundane beds to haute couture. University of Maryland Extension notes, backyard rows yield 25 heads per 10 feet. Valued at farmers' market rates, triple store prices. Milder than chicory, endive in shade produces more tender, less acidic leaves because lower light slows oxalic acid production. Start seeds in plug cells with 50-50 peat perlite. Transplant at 4 weeks into trenches lined with black plastic for bottom heat, achieving high survival rates. Pre-germinate in fridge 48 hours for uniform sprouts. Plant 10 inches apart. At 50 days, mound 8 inches of sand soil mix over hearts, excluding light for 3 weeks to yield tender, yellow-tipped spears using the witloof method. The endive advantage is that it actually gets better with cool weather, but you need to start early enough to get full-sized plants before the forcing process begins. Number 15. Parsnips. Parsnips powered Roman legions through winters and Viking voyages, their carrot-like roots storing sweet in pits. Today, they're economic stealth crops that outvalue potatoes per space. These dive deep, crowning your garden with ferny pyramids that arch 3 feet, yellow blooms luring hoverflies in summer haze, while roots sculpt soil humps like buried sculptures. They release sweet, spicy aroma on rain days, transforming cool season plots into enduring aromatic fortresses. Ohio State Extension data shows 1 pound of seeds yields 100 pounds of roots, storing till spring at premium prices when carrots go limp. Store parsnips shrink and starch out, but yours frost-kissed roast to caramel ecstasy, their spice trumping bland imports. Direct sow 1/2 inch deep 2 to 4 weeks before last frost in 55-degree soil. Mix with 10% radish seeds for markers, then flameweed at 3 weeks for perfect stands. Amend with rock phosphate for root elongation to 12 inches. Pre-chill seeds 14 days at 40 degrees for improved germination. Plant in wide beds 4 inches apart. Deep water first month, then drought stress for flavor density. The parsnip secret that most gardeners miss. These roots actually need a full season plus frost to develop their signature sweet flavor. Plant them too late, and they'll never reach their potential, before winter shuts down growth. Here's what you need to understand about spring timing. Every day you wait past the optimal planting window costs you weeks or months of potential harvest. These aren't just vegetables. They're investments in flavor, nutrition, and food security that store-bought can never match. The soil is warming up right now. Each day that passes makes it harder for these crops to establish the deep root systems they need to survive summer heat and produce the yields that make them worthwhile. University extension services across the country are unanimous on this point. Plant early enough so vegetables mature before summer heat, because bolting and rot wait for no one. Think about it this way. You're not just planting vegetables, you're planting a food system that works with nature instead of against it. These 15 crops represent thousands of years of human selection for plants that thrive in cool weather, store well, and provide nutrition when fresh food is scarce. From asparagus beds that pay you back for decades to parsnips that sweeten with every frost, you now have the rebel knowledge to turn your spring soil into gourmet gold. The clock is ticking. Soil temperatures are rising, and each day you delay costs you months of potential harvest. Pick your top 5 from this list. Get them in the ground this week, and prepare to taste what real vegetables are supposed to be like. These aren't just crops growing in your backyard. They're connections to history, to the land, and to a way of eating that most people have completely forgotten. The gardeners who figure this out don't just feed themselves better. They grow things nobody else can. And that's a very powerful position to be in. When everyone else is paying premium prices for vegetables that traveled thousands of miles and lost most of their nutrition in transit, you'll be harvesting food that's more nutritious, more flavorful, and more satisfying than anything money can buy. But only if you plant them now while the window is still open. Miss this spring opportunity, and you're looking at a full year before you get another chance. That's 52 weeks of buying expensive, inferior vegetables instead of harvesting your own gourmet crops. Drop a comment below and tell me which one surprised you most. My money's on the salsify because once you taste that oyster flavor from your own soil, you'll never look at seafood the same way again. That's it for me today, and I'll see you in the next one.